Yes, sir.
We are once again at it again, do it again. Well. Welcome to another episode of the Fandom Initiative.
Fandom Initiative.
This is what we do. This is how we are. This is how we are feeling. Um, man,
Nice,
I
nice grease line, brother. Nice grease line.
yes, yes, brother, yes. Um, wow.
You feeling very Danny Zuko today,
Bro,
huh?
there is so much. I got,
Oh my
I
god.
got. Is that a trumpet player you have, brother?
That's a trumpet point, bro.
Brother, you are,
That's the end of the world coming.
brother. You are wild hiring your own band for theme music. You just don't stop, man.
Hey, I aim to please, brother.
Damn, man. It's like I'm gonna get you, sucker. You got every good hero should have some. Damn, brother. All right. I can dig it.
Oh my god.
All right, so let's start with the introductions as always. The man across the screen from me, this gentleman here, he is the cinema CEO. He's a cinema god. This is Michael Williams.
What's up, y'all?
All right.
Thanks for hanging with
Myself,
us.
yes, once again on a fallish kind of day.
Fallish. Yeah.
Like it started out one way and it went to an whole other way. It was weird.
It's that time of year again, brother. For all that's happening.
This morning was so foggy. I said, I ain't going here. When did I move to Silent Hill?
So,
Y'all,
yeah,
I ain't going outside.
exactly.
You wild. I ain't going outside. That mail gonna stay out there.
Oh my god.
And myself, I am the Hungry Bleak, hashtag Nevermore, hashtag the Dark Star, Antonio Pomares.
Yes, he is.
And welcome once again for hanging with us at the Fandom Initiative. Man, we are 2 episodes in, so we need to start having like those flashback episodes where we get stuck in the freezer and then we got to talk about that time that we did that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, great, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
Exactly.
And normally we would come on here and we would want to talk about, whatever's going on in it and like, fandom news, movies, such what have you. But we got to talk about something that is still big and still reeling from it. A lot to unpack continuously, and that is Lovecraft Country.
Mm-hmm.
Brother, woo.
Well, let me ask you this to start off, brother.
Mhm.
What did you think of the whole series in general?
Whole series is a 9 out of 10. I'm gonna tell you why it's a 9 and not a 10.
Okay.
The storyline, well, I shouldn't even say storyline, but the scene where Montrose
Mm-hmm.
kills.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say just in case people haven't seen it. I don't want to. Well, kills.
Hashtag spoiler alert if you haven't seen it.
Hashtag. That's what we do. Spoiler. um, where he kills. Trying to remember their name. Oh my god. I've seen the episode twice too, because I had to make sure I got everything right. Where he kills of 2 spirits.
Oh yes.
That was, and I believe that they even acknowledged that it was a plot point. Excuse me, that they had dropped and they felt bad for it.
Misha Green has gone on
Yeah.
record saying that she felt like she let people down with how they handled that.
Yeah, it's the only loose end.
Yeah.
Unless it's to be brought up, if they do a second season, if it's to be brought up in another season,
Mm-hmm.
which is long-term storytelling, but still, it's the only loose end in there. Everything else was tied up, and they tied up things that weren't even loose ends. That's the wild thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it gets a 9 and out of 10 for me.
Okay.
Costume design, music, very important.
Mm-hmm.
Acting, the sets, the flow, the continuity, the writing, the layers of detail, cinematography, catering, the
craft service getting an A. Craft service getting an A out this piece.
It was the show felt so right.
Yeah.
And So, and it gave you a bit of everything from horror to social commentary to sci-fi to the Lovecraftian to, I mean, it action. You got these heartfelt moments. You could go from one emotion to the other within 3 seconds.
Yeah.
They gave you so much in 10 episodes.
Okay.
It was just, yeah. And I'm okay if they don't do another season. I'm totally okay with it. Aside from that one loose thread,
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with it because the story, that was the most satisfying finale, whether series
Mm-hmm.
or season, or
Mm-hmm.
season finale that I've seen. Before this, my favorite finale is Angel series finale.
Okay.
It's unresolved,
Mm-hmm.
but you felt that was the whole that that final scene in the alley encompassed the entire series.
Right. Right.
You know. What about you, brother?
Uh, I'll give it a 9 out of 10 too. I think I think I'm a little bit more forgiving than you are on that plot point that was dropped because I've seen. Although I admit that she probably could have done more with that particular thing that she's
Hmm.
discussing. Um, I think the thing about it is that I've seen another show that had a somewhat similar, not similar as in content, but similar as in people that were being discussed, and
Hmm.
it wasn't handled the way it should have been handled. And
Okay.
this was a major property, and I'll just throw out the property that it was. Game of Thrones with the Sand Snakes was completely sort of
Yeah.
thrown to
Yeah.
the side.
Yeah.
So
No.
yeah. So I'm a little bit more forgiving on it than you are as far as that goes. But the one point that I took off, there was one episode where they used the song, and it just felt, I don't know, it felt heavy handed, and I think it was when they used a Cardi B song. I think it was.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, it just felt like it felt almost. I mean, I know why it's there, but I
Hmm.
feel like it's just kind of heavy handed and sort of like, did you really need to do this? You know what I mean? But
I'm gonna say in that scene, yes, they did. They did.
um,
That dude, I don't advocate that,
yeah,
but in karmic sense, he
mm,
got what he deserved.
yeah,
That that
yeah.
whole that whole episode was just a head trip anyway. That whole
Yeah,
episode was
it
just
was.
off
It
the
was.
wall.
And there's part of me that feels like that song kind of took away from the whole effect of that episode. Like there's a different way you could have done that.
Mm.
For at least for me. Right? For me, you could have done that a little bit differently. You made it much more effective rather than me kind of thinking, like
No.
it's not that it didn't make it effective, it just dialed down the effectiveness for me by using that song. That's all it was for me. You know what I mean? And I mean the grand experiment of having Jordan Peele's sensibilities merged with J.J. Abrams' sensibilities absolutely worked. Like absolutely worked.
Mm.
So I loved it. I mean, I love the show. I'm with you that I think that if they decide to not do another season, I would not be angry.
Mm.
I think it's interesting that they haven't yet greenlighted it for a second season. um, but you know what? Another thing too, though, and I was thinking about this in much more broader terms as far as HBO and HBO Max's future goes. Maybe they found their niche as far as like doing shows that may not be
Yes.
multiple season arcs.
Yes.
Like they're willing to maybe tell a certain story in one season. And that could make them sort of differentiated from other streaming platforms that are out here. Like, we'll see what happens. Maybe it's just dumb luck that they've had two shows that kind of been that way. I don't know. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where this goes from here. We'll see.
I was kind of thinking that, and we all know how I feel about long ass seasons
Yeah.
or shows that kind of sometimes stay past their welcome.
Sure.
Don't know when to go just because you're so enamored with the fact that it's lasting this long.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very few shows can do that.
Yeah.
Watchmen was great. It was the continuation of a already iconic property.
Right.
It did what it had to do, and even when I was like, oh well, they could maybe tell this story and tell that story. No, they tied everything up into a bow
Mm-hmm.
and let it go. It's fine, cool, what have you.
Right.
If this is their niche to have,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind it
Mm-hmm.
because I feel that limited series or series events or
Mhm.
event series, what have you,
Mm-hmm.
are needed um, because you can tell an incredible story in 10 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need 20 something episodes for you to tell me a story and half of it be filler
Yeah.
and mid season finales. I don't need that.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm looking at the networks. I don't need that.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't need that. Um, but what I'm going to need for HBO to do is if they found their niche with this, okay, cool, fine, great. Come up with whatever you got. Make sure you got the right showrunners and such like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is
I was
important.
I was just about to say that. It falls on you finding the right people and the right writers in order to be able to do that, because you're not going to always be able to do that.
Right,
Like, those writers are going to be always in demand then. You know what I mean?
right.
So,
Yeah, because Misha Green's stock is like
yeah.
up there.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, everyone's stock from the show has gone up, but Misha Green's especially has gone up, and I'm so glad and
Yeah.
I'm so happy for that.
Yeah.
Um, the series, the finale. I'm a dog person,
Hmm.
but I now am a Shogoff person. I want my black Shogoff. I want my black Shogoff.
Nice.
There's so many. Oh my god! Okay, here are some of the references that I got, or maybe I was just seeing things. What
Hmm.
have you? Blade, the first Blade, where he's
Okay.
up against the post,
Hmm.
bleeding him, similar to in Blade
Hmm.
when they did the same thing, and it was the Bushwright oh, and
Hmm.
Sanaa Lathan.
Hmm.
It was that same thing. It was that same vibe to it. I loved it.
Right.
The two Shogoffs fighting, the black one versus the white one,
Hmm.
reminded me of, and some of you won't know this movie, but I know Michael's going to get it right off the top of his head. White Dog.
Mm. Hmm. Hmm.
I got that feeling of it because when the series first came out, and on the show, I said it's kind of like a dog. They're kind of like attack dogs. They even have the whistle and
Hmm.
everything.
Hmm.
And then it comes out where it's like a pet. And even when he's training it, and he puts his hand out and everything, I'm like, it's just. I mean, those were. I think. I know there were a whole bunch more, but there's so much in this episode. Oh, Fool Richardson being shouted out as the artist.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
One of my favorite artists. And when she said, "Well, I learned from an artist named the
Yeah.
Fool," I stood up. I said, "All right,
Yeah.
y'all, I got the vapors. Y'all
Yeah,
got
I was super surprised when that happened. I was like, wow, okay. Yeah.
scratching that fourth wall a bit, aren't we? Aren't
Yep,
we?"
yep, yep.
But loved it. Um, there was also the wrap up of the Emmett Till, which was almost like this background story
Mm-hmm.
happening.
Mm-hmm.
Another part of our real history, our real tragic history,
Yeah.
rolled up into the episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, there's so much, so many. Man, go on ahead, Doug. Go.
And I commend them too, because many shows would have found a way to kind of avoid the things that were already kind of revealed early on in the show, right? Like we
Mhm,
knew that Titus, Tick, I'm sorry, the
mhm,
Tick was going to die, for lack of a better word, right?
mhm.
Like we kind of knew. And I can think of many shows that would have found a way to somehow say, yeah, we said that earlier, but no, that's not what's going to happen. Right?
Well, yeah, that's happened so many times where it's
Exactly.
you're able to fight destiny, but this
Exactly.
whole time they're telling you,
Exactly.
well, it's in the book. Yeah, but we're going to change it, and everybody knows it
Exactly. Exactly.
except us because we don't want that.
Exactly. Um, I mean, the imagery throughout the show is real. Like just insanely crazy. Like, even with Hippolyta basically turning into the character that her daughter has been drawing this whole time.
Hmm.
Like, it's just, oh, man, like,
No loose
there's,
thread, man.
yeah, I
No
mean,
loose thread.
there's just so much going on in this show. It's amazing. It's amazing. Like, I'm not even sure that I thought, I mean, I knew it would be good. I didn't think it would be this good. Does that make any sense?
No,
Yeah, I didn't think it would be this good.
well, because we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't have any expectations.
Right, right, right.
We just knew the basics that this was going to be a horror
Mm-hmm.
series about black people traveling the country during
Yeah.
Jim Crow.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
But that was just like that wasn't even the tip of the iceberg. That was just like the first 5 millimeters of the iceberg.
yeah,
And then and then at a certain point you go, wait, what? I thought this was going to be no, wait, hold on. And it gives you so much because it gives you the horror, but then it gives you the real horror
mm-hmm.
of
Yeah,
humanity and what it can do.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so I, I love the fact that I went in unassuming, didn't know what was going to be happening, never read the book and everything like that.
mm-hmm.
And from the beginning, I'm like, wait, what? And I'm every week, I'm like, oh my god, can they release these a little bit early on HBO Max? Can I get this? Like,
Yeah,
when
exactly.
when they released it early that one week, and it was
Mm-hmm.
during Labor Day weekend, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I like grabbed my remote and like
Mm-hmm.
just went ahead and watched it. And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
whew,
yeah,
it was incredible.
yeah.
This the finale. We see Tick die. We
Mm-hmm.
see Letty be, like they both were the hero,
Mm-hmm.
and then Letty over the last few episodes has kind of etched up,
Mm-hmm.
and she becomes that hero.
Mm-hmm.
She becomes the one.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
She's pregnant. She's invulnerable. She's doing magic,
Mm-hmm.
and we see Tick, who we thought was going to be the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he wasn't a hero in his own right,
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
but he's damaged,
yeah,
problematic.
yeah.
That scene when he called his father out his name, and I was waiting for that. I was
Mm-hmm.
waiting for it because you
Mm-hmm.
can see the anger in Tick,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and where he's getting it from his father, and then you
Yeah,
see where his father got it from,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
was trying to his father was trying to beat it out of him, so
Mm-hmm.
he didn't. So Tick didn't turn out like Montrose,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he did.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, not as bad, but you could
Not as
see,
bad. Yeah,
but you could see there were moments, and
yeah.
Tick was very conflicted with that. But Letty uh, just had such an arc, and she told us in the beginning, "I'm Letty, motherfucker."
Mm.
And when that scene, even when she's driving
Mm.
the car like a bat out of hell, man.
Mhm.
And it's wild. And we see truly, um, uh, um, even Hippolyta, which they got me because I kept saying Hippolyta because that's how I pronounce
Mhm.
it. Just because
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
thank you DC. That's how we've been pronouncing it for years.
Mhm. Mhm.
she has such a great arc too. And the episode I Am,
Yeah.
breathtaking,
Yeah.
absolutely breathtaking
Yeah.
on so many levels. From Anjanou Ellis's acting
Mm-hmm.
to them showing what a woman's body looks like that's not like 20 and a size zero.
Mm-hmm.
Just that realism and her finding that and being powerful and being sexy and being great. And when she's doing the math and you see all like the math around her head,
Yep.
and I was like, how often do we get to see a black woman feeling herself who's a widow now,
Mm-hmm.
a mother,
Mm-hmm.
a genius level intellect,
Yep.
an adventurer, and incredibly like damn near omnipotent power. Oh, she's like been on these other worlds and she's fought through like different lives and almost, which is kind of what I thought was happening when they were showing the flashbacks
Mm-hmm.
in the trailer. I thought that they were going to say she was actually the reincarnation of Hippolyta because they
Mm-hmm.
showed her in the garb and everything. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, if they do that, that's going to be cool. They
Mm-hmm.
did. They
Mm-hmm.
went a different way. Either way, I'm still happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and the episode with during the war, there's not there. That was a great episode because it is asking you, well, who's the real monster?
Yes.
There's just so many.
Yeah. 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 I mean, the if you strip away all the sci-fi and horror stuff, the spine, I would say, of the show is basically the character development and the relationships amongst those characters. Like, it's just really well done. Like, and you and I have these discussions all the time about, movies and shows that are really worth their ilk watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
Usually are the shows that nail that first and then add all the other, you know, pull us in geek stuff
Yeah,
after. You know what I mean? Because if you don't have anything if you don't have anything to hang that geek window dressing off of,
mm-hmm. Yep.
it's not really going to. It's not that it may not even be that it might not work. It just won't be memorable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
It's not going to hold us as much.
yeah, it's not going to
Sad,
hold us as much. I agree.
sadly, sadly.
I agree, and I think Lovecraft Country, much like Watchmen, are very much the same in how they developed the relationships among people, and the character development in the show makes you sort of think all the time. And I still feel that way about Watchmen, and I'm sure I'll feel this way a long time after watching Lovecraft Country. What did I just watch? Like, what did I watch?
Yes.
Like, did I
Yes.
see something that's kind of. It's not
Mm-hmm.
even kind of. It's genre bending and redefining. That's what it is.
That's yeah.
You know what I
Because
mean?
it took you all over, and you
Yeah.
were totally okay with the trip. You were totally
Yeah.
okay with it because it took you all over in the best way possible,
Yeah.
and it didn't settle on one. It didn't settle on one, and we don't see black shows or shows with black cast or shows about black people or shows with black
Mm-hmm.
stories that
Mm-hmm.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
And this did it so well. And I think in a way it was meant to jar you. It
Mm-hmm.
was meant to shake you up and okay, we're here, okay, we're over here, okay, we're over here, but still keeping that thread and keeping that story.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I will say this because obviously I always like to say things like this to piss some people off. But there are people that I don't give a shit about, so it's fine. Um, People were fine until the episode, and everybody knew what was. Oh yeah, oh, it's a great series. Oh yeah, I'm following. Yeah, yeah, makes sense. People were fine until the episode with gay sex.
Mm.
Then afterwards they were like, I don't know where the show's going. I don't understand this. I don't know what's happening. I don't somebody can somebody give me a baba? Like I don't understand what's happening. I don't
Yeah, you may have had that. And I know you've had that because I've seen you talk about it. But I think as far as like my feed and things like that, it just felt like people. I didn't. I thank goodness I didn't have that. But um, I had people that just were kind of like, I don't know, like some people are weird. Like they want the story before they even watch it. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like they want to know what they're getting into, almost like it's like a business transaction, right? It's like, what do I get for sitting here an hour every week on a Sunday? Like that's not what TV is. Like they're never gonna tell you everything from the beginning. You know what I mean?
But that's what, and I've talked about this before. That's why I only watch one trailer
Right.
or one teaser
It's
because they're so used to getting everything in the movies and the trailers and all the news outlets and telling you everything about the story.
right,
They've been
right,
spoon fed everything. They can't think. They can't
right,
connect dots anymore.
right. They're
And
like,
that's what,
oh,
yeah, because
this,
they want
yeah,
to see everything, every little bit of
yeah,
it, and
yeah,
they become idiots because of it.
yeah, and they're like,
Utter
oh,
morons.
yeah, they're like, oh, well, this is another self-contained episode. I'm like, but
No,
what is your complaint here? Like, even if it is, that doesn't mean that they're not gonna come back to something you've already seen and explain why that happened. You know what I mean?
exactly
Like, don't
because like
assume.
3 episodes down, it'll connect to it.
Right. Like,
It's
don't assume that things aren't connected. Like, that's the worst mistake that you can make.
just watch and enjoy. Stop trying to figure everything out. Stop trying to
Yeah.
that
It,
that pisses me off so much.
it's irritating, dude. It's
Stop
irritating.
trying to be Rick when you're actually Jerry. Just sit down and watch it and enjoy it. Just
Exactly.
enjoy it. You don't have to be because everybody wants to be the smartest person in the room. This is what's and now it's been amplified because of COVID. Because
Yeah.
we're here and we have to figure everything out. No, just sit and
Yeah.
enjoy it. Enjoy somebody telling you a story that's incredible,
Yeah.
well researched. Just stop.
Yeah, and
Stop.
not everything needs to make sense the first time you watch it. Like, that's why TV is there in order for you to go back and say, well, I want to see that again because maybe I missed something. You know what I mean? Or something like that. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is anymore. It's weird. We've become this very, and we are this instant gratification culture. Like that's what we are now. We want everything in the beginning before we sit down to commit to anything.
That's what it is.
And it's just it's a shame. It's a shame. Like, and I've told you this. Like I've had this discussion with you in particular about a show like Lost.
Mhm.
Which when I saw the trailers for Lost and I saw, week after week the promos for Lost, and everyone should know that I didn't start watching Lost until season 4. Literally. Like I refused to watch Lost because I was like, "Oh, this is not going to end well." That was all I kept saying every time they would show an ad and everybody was talking about, "Oh, this is not going to be good. This is going to be so good." I'm like, "This is not going to end well." I'm like, "This show is all over the place." Like that was what I guessed from watching the promos every
Mhm.
week. I was like, "This show is just going to be a mess at the end." And then Amina, my wife, convinced me to literally sit down, and I don't normally do that. Like, if I haven't seen the first 3 seasons, I'm not going to sit down and watch the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I started watching it from season 4, and I was like, and I didn't really let her tell me everything I needed to know to follow. Right? I was just kind of watching, and then if I had maybe a question that she could just give me a brief answer to,
Yeah.
I might ask her. But I literally watched from season 4 on to 6, and I was like, wow. I was like, in my head, I think what was going off in my head is like, this is like brave storytelling. Like, you can't do this kind of thing on TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's impossible. Like,
And
all
that
these threads are
was
all over the place. I'm like, there's no way you can do this.
and that was and that was network television at the time too. It
Right,
wasn't because a show
right.
like Lost wouldn't be on network television. I don't think now. It would be on
Exactly.
a streaming service, Netflix or Hulu, stuff
Exactly.
like that.
Exactly. So, long story short, I got all the way to the finale. People who I knew who liked Lost hated the finale. I liked the finale because I was like, that's the only way you could end this show. and and it forced me to go back and rewatch from the beginning. I watched from season 1 all the way to the end of season 6 again. And I loved it. I literally loved it. And I'm telling you, there is no way you could do, like you said, there's no way you could do Lost on network now. You'd have to do it on a streamer. That's the only way you'd be able to do it. And even then, I don't think it'd be as good as the original.
Unless there were big names involved in it.
Yeah,
And at the time, J.J. Abrams wasn't a big name like he is now.
exactly.
I
Exactly.
mean, you had I think the biggest name on the show at the time was Matthew Fox, and that was because
Yeah,
of Target Five.
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
So he was your reason to watch.
Yeah, yeah. So then when I look at shows like Lovecraft and Watchmen, these are shows that could only be done in the premium cable / streaming generation because you couldn't do like. Could you imagine them trying to do? And I'm just throwing this out there because this is an absolutely ridiculous way to say it. Could you imagine them trying to do a Watchmen show of any weight
No,
on CW? No.
they would first off. I don't even know where to begin with that one.
I'm just being ridiculous by saying that.
Yeah, but that's the one that has the most comic book.
Right.
Considered. I think if you were to get that on basic cable, I think it would be AMC
Yeah, maybe.
or you know what, FX.
Yeah, possibly FX. Yes.
FX would be the one because
FX would probably be the only people to do it any kind of justice.
because if you've seen like shows that they have on now, I mean
Yeah.
they're using the F word anyway.
Right. Exactly.
So FX would be I think FX would do it justice. I don't think FX then AMC,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody else would do it justice. I don't
No.
think.
No. No.
You know.
No. I mean, and you know, I digress because my long rant was just about like people need to watch this show and not get caught up in the whole I need to know everything up front. It's pointless. Like that's never going to help you
It's
to enjoy this show the way it needs to be enjoyed.
the show hits on so many levels, and it's not difficult to watch if you just watch.
Yes, I agree. I completely
If
agree.
you're watching to figure it out, Sherlock, then why don't you go watch like the True Crime Network?
Yeah, exactly.
Put your incredible talents to some use.
Exactly.
But if you want to be entertained and told an incredible story with actors who are just phenomenally putting it out there and seeing something that you don't know what's going to happen next, then definitely watch Lovecraft Country. This show is amazing. Like I said, it gets a 9 from me out of 10. What was what was your thought to the scene where this is after the funeral for Emmett Till,
Mhm.
and Ruby and William are back, and they are back to the house, and they're having to talk about Emmett, and she asks him, she asks him, do you care? And Catherine's like, no, I don't care. I don't care at all. And then later on in the episode, she mimics the murder of Emmett Till.
Mhm.
What were your thoughts on that one? Because that whole episode afterwards, the interaction with Ruby and Catherine / Michael from the sex scene, which was what what the fuck? What the what the fuck was that? Which was still, honestly, I watched a lot of stuff. That's the most incredible sex scene I've ever had because it just, oh my god, and not for this. There was so much to it. There was so much in that scene, aside from just the sexual thing. But there was so much for it when shedding of the skin and everything. But what were your thoughts on her mimicking that scene, the murder?
I mean, it's a tough scene to watch, right? Knowing how that all happened. But I mean,
Yeah,
it it's I don't even know how to say this. Like
it's a lot to unpack. It's a lot to
it
unpack,
is a
brother.
lot to
It's a lot
unpack,
to
but it
unpack.
also speaks to the bravery of the writing and of a show like this, right? Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I can't think of another show that would be willing to kind of do that, right? Because I mean, that's a risk. Like, that's a huge risk
Mm-hmm.
doing it that way. That you might not turn off the audience that's come with you this far. Like, I can think of a lot of other shows that could do that and then be like, oh, well, I'm done.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm
Yeah.
finished.
Yeah.
You know, I may have 4 episodes left, but I don't need to watch anymore. You know what I mean? But I think that's the other strength of this show too, is that it is unflinching. It does not talk down to its audience. It doesn't. It will serve some meals that are hard to digest.
Mm-hmm. And
You know?
it talks straight at you, looks you dead in the eye, and says it.
Yeah.
The
And,
scene, yeah.
yeah, I mean,
For me, the scene
this is what TV is supposed to be for us.
it's
Right?
it's
This,
supposed to entertain you, make you feel something, hopefully
yeah.
make you think
Yeah.
and such like that. The scene for me was first I didn't get what was happening. I was like, wait, I thought she was maybe dreaming
Mm-hmm.
because of the talk. Then I realized it was actually happening to her.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something that was brought up in the official podcast
Mm-hmm.
for Lovecraft Country. Not us, but there's an official podcast,
Yes, yeah.
um, which they brought up a great point.
Yeah.
They said, you know, that would have been the time where you should have gotten maybe a couple of black people to do that so they could get their frustrations out because you know you're not going to die.
Mm-hmm.
But you instead get two white men, even though you know you're not going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And also showing that scene with a white woman and
Mm-hmm.
happening to her, will
Mm-hmm.
that make you feel more for it?
Mm-hmm.
And that hinted here. Here's another kind. It's probably not even hinted, but in my head canon, it is hinted at. It kind of reference to it in Get Out
Mm-hmm.
when Christopher has her on and he's choking her. He's choking her, and
Mm-hmm.
for a second, because it's a man and a woman, you're like, oh my god, no, 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 and then you're like, oh, wait, whoa, whoa, because we've been conditioned
Yes, yes,
to
yes,
think that way.
yes.
But when it was happening to her, knowing what she's done,
Mm-hmm.
and because my conditioning is breaking,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, once I realized, I was like, I don't. Was that her trying to empathize because she really does care for Ruby, and she's
Mm-hmm.
trying to get the notion that she's trying to empathize, even though she
Mm-hmm.
can't? Is this like her version of Karen trying to have those feelings?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Is
Like,
that what that was like? That was your
yeah,
grand uh, um, notion, like your grand overture was to, so you could feel what she's feeling.
yeah. But I
Well,
mean,
all black
even
people are feeling.
yeah, yeah. But even with that, you still could never feel
Exactly.
completely what black people are feeling, right? Because
Exactly.
it's not just one act.
Mhm.
It's a lifetime of acts. And
Yeah.
the pain the pain that black people feel cannot ever be reduced to one thing being transferred to one other person who's not black understanding what that feels like. Like it just you can't. You know what I mean? It's impossible.
But I think for her and her privilege and her way of being,
Yeah.
that was the closest that she'll be
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
to it.
yeah,
Until we find out what she does in the
yeah,
in Valley.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, Now the episode, what is it? Rewind,
Mm-hmm.
another series where we go, and this one's a bit deeper.
Mm-hmm.
We relive Tulsa.
Yes.
Montrose is terrified the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
We've only seen Montrose. Montrose goes from anger to fear.
Mm-hmm.
In the center, we saw love, but
Mm-hmm.
even then, he was straddling anger and fear
Yeah, yeah,
when he was with Sammy.
yeah.
And we find that when we're all thinking it's because of what happened and because of the atrocity and the horrible massacre of Tulsa, and it's not. Montrose, even with the murder he committed, is one of the most complex characters and acted amazingly well by Michael K.
Mm-hmm.
He, damn, this dude is started from Omar.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have Montrose, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, indeed. Just and it was pointed out to me that in that one episode, where he's with Sammy and stuff like that, he doesn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize. I didn't dawn on me because all his acting was physical and with his eyes.
Yeah, yeah,
His facial expressions are so incredible.
yeah.
Now, these are again two series. In Watchmen, we open up with Tulsa,
Yeah.
and then the series takes place in Tulsa, in modern day Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this series, we towards the end we get Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot in that episode when you see, and I'm always iffy on time travel. I always say, but this episode I think was the most I've felt about time travel where it felt right. You know what? Except for Looper. Looper makes sense to me too. Looper is really cool. Looper is really good with time travel for some reason. Looper is just not.
We could do a whole show on Looper, brother. There's one part of Looper that just does not sit right with me, and that's it.
It's
But
probably. I think everybody feels the same way. There's one scene I think everybody talks about in Looper that just doesn't sit right with me. But again, it's time travel, so what have you.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
The episode just hit because again it was Montrose.
yeah.
Like just oh, God, his
But
act.
I think besides Montrose, which is obviously the thing about that particular episode, there's that imagery of Letty carrying the book through the fire. Like that imagery to me is like wow. Like
It's
literally.
so it's everything.
Like you could literally put that imagery against any imagery of Sister Night in Watchmen,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and it would be
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. You,
Like
you could
really
do a mashup.
amazing.
See, now I got to commission somebody to do a mashup of those two. Money just
Yeah.
coming out my pocket, brother.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that there were some people that were complaining about why, why does everything have to be, at the expense of black people's pain and all this other stuff. I think for me, these two shows, and I know this we were talking about Lovecraft, but
Hmm.
you can't. It's almost like you can't talk about Lovecraft now without talking about Watchmen, right? For those two shows to talk about Tulsa the way that they talk about them, it's almost necessary, brother. Like, because I know that there are black people who don't know anything about Tulsa.
Right. Or if they do, they only know it by the name of Black Wall
In the
Street.
Black Wall Street, exactly.
Because as a kid, that's all I heard was
Yeah,
Black Wall. I never heard
yeah,
Tulsa.
yeah.
You know.
And I'm not saying that we shouldn't. I'm not saying that we shouldn't present us as black people in much more positive light and positive situations. Of course we should. Because not everything for, generations of black people coming up after you and I, brother, needs to be about them seeing themselves getting beaten down as slaves or being drug dealers or this, that, and the other thing or being killed by police
Right.
necessarily. But if you don't, you run a very dangerous risk. If you don't talk about hard topics like things that happen in Tulsa. Like, people need to know that.
I know
You know what I
exactly.
mean? They
Exactly.
need to know it. And I'm not saying maybe it's the best thing to do it, you know, in a film format or even in a TV format. But sometimes for certain, you know, people in a generation, that's the only way you're going to reach them. Right? Because you may not reach them in a book.
Yeah.
You may not reach them in a history lesson in school.
Hmm.
You may not reach them even on a field trip going to the African American Museum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, sometimes they need to see something in certain contexts, and that may spur the conversation or the conversation starter in their heads to start asking questions about, well, did this happen? Why did this happen? You know, things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you have to. If forget the past, you're doomed to repeat it.
Exactly.
But you can tell our stories and not have it be torture porn or trauma
Yeah.
porn.
Yeah. Yeah.
This show is a definite because it shows what they went through, but it also shows you that we overcome.
Yeah.
You can have those two stories be together and not just have it be about 20 minutes of somebody being lashed or
Absolutely.
beat or showing,
Absolutely.
you know, someone being raped or such just because it's
Yeah.
part of the story. You can tell our history, but you can also show our triumph.
Yeah. And it also
You
shows
have to.
very briefly, albeit, but it does show that we were thriving in Tulsa
Yeah,
before it was destroyed.
minding our own business.
Exactly.
They were even going to the prom.
Yeah.
You know how well off you have to be as a society to have a prom,
Oh my god. Yeah.
and that's not me trying to be funny. Like that's a dead serious thing.
Yeah, it's truth. It's
Because
truth.
when they said prom, I was like, that wasn't even on my radar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That wasn't even on my radar. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but it's a human thing. When you're at that point where you're able to say, okay, these kids need to have a prom.
Yeah.
Their
Yeah.
high school need to have a prom, and they all dressed up and feeling good.
Yeah.
That's a level of not comfort, but a level of confidence,
Mm-hmm.
but also preparedness. Because when the whites did come and start attacking, they weren't just running around going, oh my God,
Mm.
oh my God. They were like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
set up straight. Boom, let's go. They were ready. They were all strapped.
Yeah.
They were all ready. The heaters, and the
Yeah.
women were sitting there like chilling out, because they
Mm-hmm.
don't like guns. They was like, all right, bet. They was like,
Yep. 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 Yep.
who wants this first shot? Who
Yeah.
wants it?
Yeah.
And it was just so incredible to
Yeah.
see that. um, but so heartbreaking. This series, like I said, it has a habit of making you cheer,
Yeah,
making you laugh,
yeah,
making you angry, and then
yeah,
making you almost tear up
yeah,
at what we've like been through
yeah,
and see.
and that goes back to what I said earlier in this episode that this show does not talk down to its audience.
No,
It does
no.
not hide anything from the audience. It wants you to feel all of those emotions because all of those emotions are part of the human condition. That's what it is. It's the truth.
And you have to have, you can't be afraid to bring up uncomfortable topics.
Yeah,
You have to ask uncomfortable questions
yeah,
and have uncomfortable conversations in order for it to elicit any kind of change or any type of awareness or consciousness. You
yeah,
have to look at it.
yeah.
And shout out to two things. Shout out to Chuck Collins,
Mm,
who did a piece art of Letty walking through the flames,
mm,
and then I believe it was uh, um, Sojourner Journey, excuse me, Journey Smollett, who shared it on Twitter.
okay.
And the piece is it was a piece I hadn't seen the episode yet, and I was like, "What is? I gotta watch this tomorrow." I was like, "I got
yeah,
this tomorrow. I got
yeah,
this tomorrow."
yeah,
And
yeah.
a shout out to them having Montrose say their names as he
Yes,
watched all the buildings burning
yes,
and people
yes,
die. He said their names,
yes.
which is something that we continuously say. Say their names, make
Yeah,
them real, make them human beings, make them.
yeah, yeah,
It's not just a hashtag or a
yeah,
movement or something for you to post on
yeah.
social media.
It's the
And
truth.
then when things are better, then you can just go back to posting your meals and
Yeah, yeah.
your workout regime
It's
that
the
no one
truth.
gives a shit about.
It's
No
the
one
truth.
cares.
It's the truth.
No
It's
one
the truth.
cares if you did like 30 squats. Nobody gives a shit.
It's the truth. Yeah.
But there's uh, so many moments in this. I could do this all day. Um, my favorite moment, though, I'm going to say, actually, was it my favorite? Yeah, my favorite moment of the show.
Hmm.
And this was the most horror type of, well, not the
Hmm.
most horror, but it was like the most triumphant horror.
Hmm.
D unveiling her arm,
Hmm.
squeezing again, almost like a link to get
Hmm.
out.
Hmm.
This one a little more on the nose, squeezing.
Hmm. Hmm.
And she's read the book.
Hmm.
Y'all don't listen.
Yep.
Pop. And then you see the black shokoff, which I'm going to check on Amazon, see if I can order one.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get the Amazon Prime. I'm going to have it here the next day.
Yeah.
I ain't going to know how to act.
Yeah, I hear you, brother.
And, and seeing it roar and the moon behind it,
Hmm.
that is like a poster. That's like
Hmm.
a horror movie poster right there.
Hmm.
That was just such a cool image
Hmm.
of the, seeing this young black girl who's now a cyborg
Hmm.
with her pet monster
Hmm.
that was given to her by her cousin, possibly brother, who died
Hmm.
to protect the world, and the mother of his child
Hmm.
is doing magic and took magic away from all white people.
Hmm.
And her mother, Dee,
Hmm.
is now like this ethereal being.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, they are accompanied by a Korean demon.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
What was the episode? Meet Me in Daigai?
Yes.
Oh my god. Amazing episode. Jamie Chung.
Chung. Yeah, Jamie Chung, who's been a good actress for a very long time. And she's really good in the show.
She needed something to really,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And this blows it out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. You are my child's father, first love. You're here to
Mm-hmm.
help us save the world. You're a
Mm-hmm.
demon.
Mm-hmm.
And why is my man holding your hand for so long?
Yeah.
We gonna box, but I need you to help us. Thank you for being here,
Exactly.
but we gonna box later. All these threads
Yes.
intertwined,
Yes.
level levels to storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
That episode was so powerful, so amazing, and I love the fact that they weaved in um, the Korean mythology with
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
Komiyo,
Yeah. Come
and
here.
that it was in Korean most of the
Yes.
episode.
Yes.
Oh, I don't like subtitles, but y'all sat there and watched that, though, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But
Exactly.
you want to make but you want to make an American version of everything out there.
Exactly.
Some things
Exactly.
just need to be what they are.
I agree.
And this episode was incredible. It was love. It was horror. It was familial love as well. It was horror of family.
Mm-hmm.
Another unflinching episode. And wartime.
Mm-hmm. And I wanna shout out not even shout out. I wanna talk about um I wanna talk about Christina in this show. Played
Mm.
by Abby Lee, the actress Abby Lee.
Mhm.
When I watched the panel for the show during San Diego's Summer Comic Con,
Yes.
I watched it and just the way she responded to certain questions, it made me kind of think of the same way Yaya answered his questions
Very.
for Watchmen. Like, you knew that there was something going on with her. Like, she couldn't really tell you what was going
Yep.
on. Like, her answers were very not her answers were very sort of
Vague, kind of like. Or not.
not they weren't really vague, but
But
she
very like
wasn't giving a lot away. Like they were very
shallow.
interesting. Yeah, they
They're
were
like
interesting
very
answers.
shallow
Yeah.
as far as depth, not as far as
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They
being
were
dapper
interesting.
and like that.
Yeah,
Right.
they were interesting answers, but she couldn't really say much.
Mm.
And obviously, for obvious reasons now, since we've
Right.
seen
Yeah.
the show, why she couldn't say much. Um,
Which is now the sign of a person who has the best words or like
exactly,
the most secrets in the show. So this
exactly,
is now going to be
exactly,
called
exactly.
the Yaya, where you just
Yeah, yeah. We've coined it. We gotta
yeah,
yeah
yeah,
we gotta trademark
yeah.
that. um,
I mean, I showed up Wednesday.
yeah, exactly, exactly,
I
exactly.
was on camera.
Exactly,
You know, tell you.
exactly, exactly. But she's really good in this show,
Yes.
and you know, like last week's show, brother, when I told you like I had things in mind for certain people that were on the show,
Mm-hmm.
I actually have something in mind for her
Mm.
outside of this, and I basically kind of narrowed down my list for a certain character in X-Men lore
Is it
to
um damn, I can't think of her name. Holy cow! Hellfire Club.
yes.
Yeah, you
I've
went here
now,
before.
yeah, I had mentioned, the woman from Killing Eve a long time ago. I had said that I thought that she'd be good at it.
Yeah, Abby, I feel is
I think Abby Lee's probably perfect for it, and for a lot of reasons why. Like how she plays Christina in this show, I could completely see her kind of playing the White Queen that way. Like always like one step ahead of everybody else in the room.
mhm.
You know what
and,
I mean?
and gloating about it, and
And
they don't
glow
and they don't even understand why she's gloating. They just think she's
exactly.
being an ass.
Exactly, exactly. And also because I think she probably, to be honest with you, she's probably could be like physically imposing with her height. Like she's pretty tall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
And that wasn't even her wearing heels that
yeah,
time.
exactly. And
And you
she
know, Frost is always in heels.
yes. And she has the look. She just has this look
Hmm.
that would completely go with the things that the White Queen wears, that we know that the White Queen wears. So
Yeah.
it's just like I I would not object to her being cast as the White Queen at all. And you know what's funny? It says that she was in Mad Max Fury Road. I don't remember her in Mad Max Fury Road.
Well, there was a lot going on in that movie. There was a lot
I
going on.
know. I know.
Well, that I'm trying to think what streaming service that's on now. I know it's on something, but I don't remember what it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's definitely a rewatch anyway.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
shoot,
sure.
that's definitely worth a rewatch anyway.
For sure. Yeah.
Um, Trying to think. I mean, the whole cast deserves a shout out. I mean, my God.
This show is extremely well cast. Like
Um,
extremely well cast.
Shout out to Courtney B. Vance. Gone too
Yeah.
long, man. Damn.
Yeah.
We thought we was gonna get you for more episodes, dog. That's so messed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Wunmi Mosaku. Mosaku played Ruby.
Yes.
I may be
Yes.
butchering her name. If I am, I
Mm-hmm.
apologize totally.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just
Yeah. She's good too. Yeah.
and when it was um, Christina as Ruby,
Mm-hmm.
and how her little nuances she changed, she switched it up.
Yeah.
So her acting in that scene as Ruby physically, but mentally as the White Queen,
Mm-hmm.
was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they just so much there, and the way she was, and I want to say she's English
She
or not English.
is Aussie, I believe.
Oh, is she?
I think so. Which
Um,
would completely explain why she's in Mad Max Fury Road.
let's see. Nigerian-born British actress.
Wait, who are we talking about? We talking about Christina? Or are we talking
Oh
about?
no. One me.
Oh, Winmy. Yeah, Winmy is. She's
Uh,
Nigerian. Yes.
yeah. Because I remember hearing her speaking. I remember hearing an accent because you can kind of tell English actors now
Mm-hmm.
because and the one who killed it for all of them
Mm.
is Hugh Laurie
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
because they all do that same accent of what they think Americans sound like, which is funny because we all do the same accent that what we think they sound like.
Mm-hmm.
I realize that
Mm-hmm.
there's different regions and
Yeah,
such like
yeah,
that,
it's true. It's true.
but there's this almost like this thing in the back of their throat that you can hear,
Mm-hmm.
like them holding back their accent. It's a
Mm-hmm.
weird thing, but you can always tell. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, still a phenomenal job regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually play Southern actors too, or
Yeah.
parents, I should say,
Yeah.
which is a
I
weird kind
think
of thing.
Southern accents are probably easier for them to do than like New
Yeah,
York accents and things like that.
yeah, because there's more to hold on to with the Southern accent. There's more to
Yeah.
hold on to, and it's yeah, there definitely is something more there too. There's more to hold on to it than say like our accent, which we may not hear it, but there
Yeah.
is an accent definitely there.
Yeah.
Shout out to her. Just first off, sister, can I buy you just a hat, a shawl? I don't care what it is. Just so beautiful, flawless. The acting is just amazing. Screen presence was just
Yeah.
incredible. When you see her up on stage and she's singing and she's hitting that guitar again, we don't see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was this series is such a rewatch.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah. Your favorite moment of the whole series? I know that's hard, though. I know it's hard. It's kind of like picking a favorite empanada, man. You gotta pick one.
Oh man, one.
Yeah, yeah, man. I can see you playing the whole series in your head like,
Yeah.
man, are you serious?
Oh brother, it's gotta be Letty walking through Tulsa while Tulsa's being
Oh,
destroyed
yeah,
and bombs are going off around her, and
yeah,
she's holding on to this book and she's just walking through the fire. Like it's like That could have been your poster for the entire show,
Hmm.
and that would have hooked me in.
Hmm.
Just looking at that would have hooked me in.
Especially when the planes come flying in,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you know what's about to happen.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and she's invulnerable.
yeah,
So this is her best time to flex it.
yeah.
And going through that trial by fire,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it
And I
was
mean, there's just
that
so
is.
much. There's so much. I mean, that image is so layered with history. Like
Mhm.
women have to almost do everything in this country, right?
Mhm.
In order to make the country work. Like they have to bring people into the world. They have to
Nurture them.
nurture them. They have to deal with everybody else's bullshit. They
Hmm.
have to
Stay strong, never crumble. Can't
stay
be
strong,
human.
never
You got to be
crumble.
superhuman.
Exactly.
But you
Like
have to be the dichotomy of you too strong. You got to let me be a man.
exactly.
But then when it's so, oh yeah,
There's so much in that image. Like the town is falling to rubble around her, and she just presses on. She continues to press on
yeah.
because she has to.
And it's everything that they were told you have to be. And
Yeah,
we went just had our own world, our own thing,
yeah,
and couldn't leave it alone.
yeah,
And now you have to walk away from it
yeah.
into another hornet's nest
Yes,
because this little girl needs that book to live.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. And another quick shout out. The artwork before the episode begins on the title cards for every episode has been
Yes,
phenomenal.
yes.
But that last bit of artwork for the season finale was insane.
Mm.
Like it literally had everything that ever happened in the entire show
Hmm.
in it. It's just crazy to me.
You know what I would?
Crazy.
I would love like almost like tarot cards, almost like larger size cards
Mm-hmm.
with those images on them.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're probably being made at some point or what have you, but I would
Mm-hmm.
love to get. I also want the comic book covers that they drew for each one.
Mm-hmm.
I want those. I don't care if it's just like
Just the
book
artwork, just a
a,
lithograph.
a
Yeah.
book folded up with just toilet paper in the center. I don't care. I just
Yeah,
want
exactly.
because they're
Exactly.
so, oh my god, so beautiful. But that
Yeah.
image, it's amazing how we're seeing an iconic image be born.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because 10 years down the line, that could be on someone's T-shirt during a march
Yep.
with something like "We walked through the fire once, we'll walk through it again," or whatever, or
Yeah.
what have you. And there's
Yeah.
so many iconic images in this series.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, brother, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be really disappointed if there aren't people in Artist Alley in Comic Con if we're able to go to Comic Con physically next year that don't have prints with that particular image on it of her walking through the fire.
What I wouldn't mind that, but what I want more
Mm-hmm.
is I want all these images in these stories to inspire,
Oh yeah,
to
absolutely.
germinate something where they go, well, I was inspired by Lovecraft to write this story or do this art, what have you.
Yeah.
And when those T-shirts start happening for Lovecraft,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, brother. Of course. Of course.
just I'm just saying, my armory is I got two T-shirts I'm waiting on now. Just saying, my
I hear
armory
you.
is deep.
I hear you,
My
brother.
armory is
I
deep.
hear you.
You know.
I hear you.
Yeah, that is a powerful image though, and
Yeah.
it's a mix of sorrow and anger,
Mm-hmm.
and also determination to get through the portal to save D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
there's so much in that in that walk,
Yeah.
and it's also because all throughout every other situation you see her in, she's running. She
Yep.
ran ass off.
Yeah. Yeah.
She
Yeah.
ran her ass off. In this one, she's walking.
Yep.
You're not gonna make me run. I'm invulnerable. You're not gonna make me run.
Yeah. Oh, brother.
It was just, whew. So
She's my first choice for Jamie Summers, brother. I already said this.
I I really want to see what everyone works on next. I'm excited. This makes me excited for everyone else's projects to come out,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
want to see what they're going to come out with next.
Yeah.
Honestly, damn, Jesus. The series just does so much, man. And when you were a kid, would you thought that you would have ever gotten something like this?
No. No.
Exactly. That's
No.
why it. That's why it hits different.
Yeah.
That's why,
Yeah.
and it's incredible. And we're so lucky to be able to see something like this to
Yeah. I
become
mean, I
real.
I think Watchmen and this show have now changed the game for people who have wanted to write in this end of the genre,
Hmm.
and now they know that they can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They know that no idea that they have is outlandish as
Hmm.
long as it's developed
Yep.
and developed the right way. You have a real shot at
Hmm.
getting these things now on TV and amongst people's eyeballs to see.
Yeah.
You know?
Because it's about quality, not quantity.
Yeah,
Quality. You bring that quality,
yeah,
and we'll definitely be there to support you
yeah. Absolutely.
for real. I'm trying to think of my favorite image too. That I just so I think it's and this is probably going to sound odd because of all the incredible images.
Hmm.
But it's when Tick Atticus sees his mother,
Oh yeah, that's also a very good image.
and he just holds on to her,
Hmm.
and even he puts his head on her lap, and he's just crying and sobbing because he's happy, but that happiness is waning because he knows that she's going to have to leave at a certain point.
Yeah, yeah,
Actually, you know what? It's a tie. It's a tie
hmm,
between that image and the image where Letitia is performing the ceremony in her basement,
yes.
and we get this total reversal
Hmm.
where the ghosts aren't evil;
Hmm.
they just want revenge for what happened to them.
Yep.
And so often we're shown ghosts and evil, and we're shown practitioners of our spiritualities,
Hmm.
of our of our spiritualities, such like that, being shown as evil and
Yeah.
oogie boogie and all this other stuff. But
Hmm.
here it's used as something beautiful and something to save them and something to get these demons, excuse me, these
Yeah.
spirits to rest.
Yeah, that was a really good scene too. That was a really good scene too.
That whole episode was just so great
Uh,
and cool, and how it starts out with these three people weren't seen,
mm-hmm.
and you're looking in there like, so who wasn't seen? Who? That's also the first episode where we see Bobo
Yeah.
in in the image that we all know him with the white shirt and the black and white tie,
Yeah.
and they're playing with the Ouija board, which is something they say black people don't do. I had a Ouija board as a kid and played with it.
Okay. Yeah.
Black people do you know spiritual things like that and things like and conjurings and such like that.
Yeah.
We do. It just shows it. Those two images are favorite moments to me because it was also Letty's like awakening in a way where she's
Hmm.
starting to develop herself as a person, and that's when we start to see her become that hero and ratchet up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those two scenes for me are a tie. I mean, the ending scene with Dee crushing throat, I mean, goes because, but it's the end of this, but it's the end. So
Mm-hmm.
I, I can't vote for that.
Right. Right.
Can't vote.
Right.
It's against the rules. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um, we could do this for hours,
Yeah.
days probably. Um, but that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
We might revisit this. Honestly, I could see doing a back-to-back show of
Mm-hmm.
Watchmen
Mm-hmm.
and of Lovecraft Country season one,
Mm-hmm.
if there's going to be another season, or just
Mm-hmm.
Lovecraft Country series. Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah, bro.
that it just because it hit me in such a way. I so many times I stood up and cheered and said yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you can get somebody to do that, especially after they've been working like an 8 hour day from 4 o'clock in the morning to get
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
if you can get people spooking and scared and everything like that, then thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you, brother. I agree.
So those are our thoughts on the Lovecraft series.
Mm-hmm.
Go watch it if you're not able. I know a couple people who are late to it and they're starting to watch it now, and
Mm-hmm.
they are floored by it,
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
floored, which is awesome. Whether
Mm-hmm.
you watched it when it was happening or whether you're watching it now, what have you, go
Mm-hmm.
watch it. It's definitely worth it. If you're, and this is the perfect time of the year to watch it because of horror and stuff like that, but
Mm-hmm.
also because of the history that's woven into it, all the little nods that go into it, the performances, everything is great.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, brother.
Oh man, like I agree with everything that the Hungry Bleak has said about this show, but more importantly, there's just a lot of amazing content that's out there now.
Mm,
And we just talked about one of the many things that
yeah,
are kind of out there right now that are worth watching. I'm sure we'll be talking about other things in future episodes, but definitely, if you have not seen Lovecraft Country, please watch that. If you have not seen Watchmen, please love that. Please watch that. Love it too.
oh
Love them
no,
both. Love them both.
oh no, you will love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, and
Um,
there are the official podcasts too for them. Listen to them because they
yes,
do give great insights
yes. Especially
into it.
Lovecraft Country.
So,
Especially Lovecraft
so
Country.
so detailed, and the stuff that they give you is such a great podcast, amazing podcast.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, it's. I think I made a joke about this last week. But what a time to be alive if you're a geek. What a time to be
It is,
alive.
it is, dude. I mean, dude, I'm over here. I was over here reading this. Have you ever read
Yes,
the ass
yes.
tone, brother?
I was with you when you brought that, huh?
Yes,
How's that
brother.
book, brother? How's that book?
Oh, oh,
It's good.
this is exactly what I needed, man. This is
It
exactly what I
sounds like
needed.
it would be good if it's called Seven Deadly Sins.
It's Western. It's definitely what because I've been needing a
Uh,
Western to read. I've even been looking at movies to watch with like black leads as far as westerns because I watched a Bass Reeves movie a few weeks ago.
okay.
Something in Hell. I forgot what it was called. Where it was like his story basically.
Mm,
And it was I forgot the actor's name. It was David something. I forgot his name. He was in um, a series on CW, limited series about a pandemic. Containment. Yeah.
oh,
He also played Troy, I think. Or no. He played. Was it maybe Ajax? He played or Achilles? There's a series on Netflix based on the whole Ajax and Troy and such like that.
mm,
But it has like not just white actors. It has
mm.
like actors of all shades and stuff like that. And he's in that too. I forget the brother's name, David something. Like he
Oh,
played.
Yellow? That dude?
Yes.
Okay.
No. Wait, is that his name? Oh my god.
British dude?
I don't. I think he might be Canadian. This isn't. No. Not him.
Oh, okay.
Although I need to see that guy in more stuff
Yeah,
because
of
I love
course.
him.
Yeah, he's good.
Damn. I want to say his name is. No, watch. I got his name right. I'm wrong. Watch. Containment. Let me see the cast. David Gayasi.
Hmm. Okay.
And he played Bass Reeves.
Okay.
Um, and it was good. I really want something because I'm a huge fan of
Have you seen the Magnificent Seven remake?
brother. I bought it. What are you talking about,
Oh, okay, brother. I said, brother. I don't.
brother? Come on,
I don't know, brother. I don't know.
come on, baby. What you doing, baby? What you
What you
doing,
doing,
baby?
baby?
Yeah,
What
I
is you
which
doing, baby?
which I love because I love the whole Uncle Denzel memes.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Why they do my man like that? What? And when I saw the movie, I was like, oh, that's what it's from. And
Hmm.
I loved the movie, loved it.
Yeah, it's great.
So I want to start looking around for stuff with black leads and stuff like that, which is
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
I was watching that, and this has a black lead in it,
Hmm.
who is, I think, everybody in this book is flawed. Obviously, it's a Western, it's a
Hmm.
comic, it's an indie
Hmm.
book, so obviously everybody's flawed, screwed up.
Right.
It's really great. Um, but yeah, it's a wonderful time. It's great between movies and books and TV shows and
Hmm.
streaming services and
Hmm.
all over the damn place
Yeah.
and podcasts,
Yes. Yes.
and stuff like that coming out. There's a lot of stuff going on. So you are right. It is a joke, but it's true as hell.
It's
It is
true.
true as hell.
It's very true.
So, brother, on that note, I think it's time we say goodbye
I think it is, brother. For
to
now.
all our Lovecraft friends. MIC. See your ass later. KEY. Why? I don't know why. I'm just gonna see you later. That's why I'm like,
Yeah.
what is you doing, baby? What is you
What is you
doing?
doing, baby?
What is you doing, baby? What's going on? You can't be out on folks' counters like that, baby. What are you doing?
You good, Poppy? You
You
good?
The man across from me has been Michael Williams, Cinema CEO. Check him out on Instagram. You can also check him and the amazing Lady Mina. They
Yes.
are the World Tag Team Champions of the world with the AMC A-listers. And you can also check out Lady Mina's podcast, Politicking for the Culture.
Yes.
They are, what, 8 episodes in, I want to say?
I think so. Yes. Eight.
Eight
Yes.
episodes in. They
Hmm.
are available everywhere. It is Mina and Mawa.
Yes. Mawa. Yes.
Got it first try.
Nice. Nice, brother.
Got a hook to the liver on that one, brother. Check them out. Politicking for the Culture.
Hmm.
Great stuff. Very just politics relatable and
Yes.
just making it down to earth and giving it to you how X gonna give it to you because he gonna give
Yes.
it to you. X gonna
Yes.
give it to you. He gonna give it to you
There you go.
a whole lot. He just gonna keep giving it to you. Earl. Oh, I don't know. I don't know why I put the government out there like that. I'll be real with you.
Exactly.
And myself, I am Antonio Pomadas. I am the Hungry Bleak. Check me out on Instagram, not Facebook because I'm really not on there because I'm gonna be honest with you, I really just don't like social media too much right now. Just don't give a shit. I'm sick of. It's a whole deeper issue, but I'm
Yeah.
just tired of I'm tired of Facebook.
I hear
For
you, brother.
one, but what have you.
I hear
And this has been a our second show. We're having a good time. We're having fun.
you. Yes, we
It's
are.
been our discussion on Lovecraft Country
Hmm.
series, and this has been another episode of the Fandom Initiative.
Yes.
Welcome to the fandom.
Yes.
You all have a very good day, good evening, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing. All right,
All right,
and
brother.
be safe and don't get into trouble. Wash your damn hands. All right,
Exactly.
peace.
Exactly. All right.
We're still live for some reason.
Yeah. Because you need to cut us off, brother.
Well, no, it's just winding around all over and over again.
Oh, is it?
Yep, sure is.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, technology is wonderful.